So, I tested positive for COVID a few weeks ago, and I'm still on the mend. Now, full disclaimer, I'm not fully recovered, so my voice isn't the greatest right now, but I wanted to get an episode posted for everyone. Alright, with that said, do me a favor and hit that like icon and smash the subscribe button. My name is Michael from the Nation 80 podcast, and in today's episode, I want to share with you the games I've been playing while in quarantine. Alright, so first up we have Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition from BioWare. Now, Mass Effect in itself is a game that came out a long time ago and was one of my favorites, and I originally played it on the PlayStation. However, Electronic Arts wanted to do a remaster of the Mass Effect series and bring it to more streamlined gaming experience, which included 4K. Now, this game involves you as Commander Shepard as you go around in this sort of space drama or space opera, really, and it's an RPG action adventure type of game. You get to fully customize your character, decide whether you're going to be a neutral character, a bad guy, or a good guy. And all these decisions will affect how the game plays and how ultimately the game will end. Now, currently, I'm playing Mass Effect 1. This is the first in the series, which introduces you to the new threat in the galaxy, which is the Geth. And it sees our adventurer looking to find out what the Geth are after, why they're after it, and trying to find the mysteries of an alien race that disappeared a long time ago. Now, when this game first came out, the graphics were amazing, and the remaster is not so bad itself, and the voice acting is phenomenal. One of the best voice acting games I've ever played, and the story is just great. It's a great story. I remember playing Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2, and these were just games that I was in love with. I haven't played Mass Effect 3, but I'm working my way through that backlog right now. And one of the other unique things about this game is that it's not only just a shooter, but it's also a squad-based shooter, which is something I really enjoy. And along with those shooting mechanics, you get powers for each of the characters that you put into your squad, giving you sort of a mix of how to tactically go throughout this game. Now, Mass Effect 3 is currently on sale, but don't expect that sale to last long. Okay, so next up we have Madden NFL 22 from Tiburon and EA Sports. Now, Madden, just like any of their ones in this series, seems to just have incremental updates, but what makes this so great on the deck is that you're able to play Madden on the go. Now, there is a caveat to that. You do have to use EA's third-party launcher Origin, and if you're not connected to a personal hotspot or a Wi-Fi, you won't be able to do a true offline mode with this game. Now, me personally, that isn't much of an issue, as if I know I'm going to play Madden on the go, I usually just log on before I leave the house, and if I forget, I just create a quick hotspot, log on through the Origin, and then do the game that way. Now, the game itself runs great on the Steam Deck. I can't vouch for the online play, as I usually just do franchise mode and single player, but I run it at 60 frames per second, and it runs very well. The graphics look great. The gameplay is awesome. It's just a great game to have, especially if you're a football fan with upcoming seasons starting today. Now, even though Madden 23 is about to come out, I would say hold off and maybe just go with Madden 22 because that price might drop. Currently, Madden 22 is on Steam for $59.99. Alright, so the next three games, or the last three games that I'm going to mention, are all games that I've been emulating on EmuDeck. First off, we have Aliens, and I'm talking about the arcade game Aliens. Now, this game was originally released by Konami back in the day, and I was a big Aliens fan, big Sigourney Weaver fan, and I remember playing this in the arcade with my cousins, and it was an amazing game to play, although I was never very good at it, so I figured, hey, this is a game that I could pick up and go and try to, get through it and finally beat it, 30 years later. Now, of course, this game does star Sigourney Weaver as the main protagonist, and she is going through the alien base, or really just the colony base that's infested with aliens without her marine counterparts. Throughout this game, you'll have access to anything from the classic pulse rifle machine gun to rocket launchers to even the flamethrower that she MacGyvered together. Okay, next up what we have is one of my all-time favorites, which is Wave Race on the Nintendo 64. Now, this game was pretty unique for when it came out back in the day, mainly because it had these simulated waves that felt really realistic when you were trying to use your wave racer on them throughout these race courses. And you had different courses, whether they were, around a beach or through a lake, and the waves were just a character of its own and made the game very fun. Now, as I mentioned before, this is an N64 emulator, and again, I'm running this through EmuDeck, and just like the previous game, Aliens, this game runs really well at 60 frames per second. Now, one of the cooler features in this game wasn't just the racing, but they actually have a stunt mode where they put ramps throughout the course and you get to perform different types of stunts. I always thought that was pretty fun, especially when I went up against my cousins. And even on the normal setting, the computer components are actually pretty hard, and it takes some finesse, especially, as I said before, the realistic waves that are in this game make it pretty tough. Alright, so last but not least, we have Street Fighter 2 Turbo from Capcom. Now, this is a game that I emulated from my SNES, and so now we have MAME, we did N64, now we have the SNES on here on Steam Deck, and just like with the other two emulators, Street Fighter 2 runs great. Now, I used to be into fighting games big time back in the day. Of course, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat were the two main ones that I was into. And then sometime when I started to become an adult, that kind of went out the way because I just sucked at fighting games. And I went more towards your first-person shooter games. But I'm starting to find my way back into fighter games. And I'm finding my way back into Street Fighter. And I remember some of the moves. So I decided to start with Ken and use some moves that I remember from back in the day. And it's fun to learn some of these things again. And this will be a fun game to play with my son. And hopefully, and again, I haven't checked out the online features of this emulator yet, but hopefully something I can play with my cousins as well. Now, I'm not exactly sure. The game does run very well. It does seem sometimes in finishing moves at the end of these rounds that there is some slowdown, but I seem to remember that from back in the day. But otherwise, the game runs very well at 60 frames per second. Now, if you haven't played Street Fighter in a while, they do give you two modes. There is the turbo mode and then just the normal mode. I tried the turbo mode. I got my butt whooped. So I'm going to start on normal, and then I'll hit the turbo once I can get that D-pad working the way I want it to. All right, that's it. That was a quick video. I just wanted to show everyone what I was playing in quarantine while I had COVID, and hopefully gave you some inspiration or some ideas of games or what to do with your Steam Deck. Just a phenomenal machine. You get to play the games that you get down from Steam. You get to emulate other systems that you might own, and it is just a great gaming device to have on you, whether you're playing at home or on the go. Again, this is Michael from the Nation 80 podcast. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And as always, keep your imagination up, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.